Now today we're going to talk about Isagi versus Hinata. Now this sparked a huge debate on Twitter and many people spoke up, reaching a lot of different views from both sides, but I think overall many people went with Hinata instead. Now the question asked was who is the better character in terms of writing and character development. Now I would definitely say Hinata is better in terms of writing and character development. During the series of haikyuu, we watched Hinata grow up in front of our eyes and start from scratch, having to work his way to get into a high school team and become a player worth looking at. He was the shortest character in a sport that relied on your height the most and had to make the most of it. He was able to be on a high school team with arguably the best setter in haikyuu, Kageyama, and these two were able to make a quick set that was so fast it shocks everyone. Hinata's whole story was a process of never giving up, and we have seen all the ups and downs throughout his high school to eventual pro career. We like Hinata because of the way he rebuilds himself from the ground up. He moves to another country, trains himself into having healthy habits, meditates, does yoga, reads books, etc. All that just so he could devote his entire life to volleyball. The Brazil arc really was an historic arc for haikyuu, and we really get to see Hinata develop further after his high school career. Hinata goes off to become a volleyball player on the beach in Brazil. During this time, he focuses internally on everything possible in volleyball. Since beach volleyball is only 2v2, each person needs to rely on their individual skills so much more than normal. Also, it is much harder to move in sand than on a gym floor, so Hinata also gains much more speed and jumping power as well. The sheer dedication and willpower to accomplish that on his own in a foreign environment is so astounding and admirable. And that is just one arc out of many other character arcs of Hinata Shoyo. The writing and execution used for Hinata really was special. He fit his own role as an MC for sports animes and became known as Ninja Shoyo, the greatest decoy, and Hinata from the concrete. Many setters end up wanting to play with Hinata like Aikawa and Atsumomiya. These two are top of the line setters and are excited to see someone like Hinata and want to play with him. After the major defeat Karasuno suffered due to Hinata collapsing on the floor, it was a huge mental test for Hinata. His dream crushed right in front of him because of an illness that he could not control and he was forced to be subbed out. Even still, he never looked away at the game and remembered that pain and feeling of losing. I was really shocked and excited to see Hinata's progress after high school. He really does mature a lot and realize just how talented he has to become to be able to get noticed and get onto a team. One of the consistent themes of Hinata as a character is how he has to and is willing to climb the ladder from the bottom up. Hinata had a late start as a volleyball player because he couldn't play volleyball properly in middle school, so he's basically completely new to the sport at the start of high school. Then he went back to the basics of volleyball when he was a ball boy in the Shiratorizawa training camp, filling water bottles and cleaning the floor for the volleyball players that he defeated himself. The Shiratorizawa coach really tested him in all ways and did not make him feel special at all. He constantly had to earn a spot and take over to be on the same court as the others. Hinata is constantly overlooked and proved a lot of people wrong in the series. He first was just a no-good shorty, but then becomes a player worth setting to. I mean, learning volleyball from scratch again in the beach was a huge thing. He basically reverted his whole skill set to be able to become an all-rounder type of player so he could then go back to Japan and play for a team. He goes so far to even take a jump ball from Ushiwaka and let him know that he's going to defeat him. From then on, he proclaims himself as Hinata from the concrete, one of the coldest stare-downs and quotes we have seen in sports animes. Hinata has a very energetic and cheerful personality. He is known as protagonist of sports animes and his reputation is quite known. Everyone has been mainly going for Hinata and explaining why it's not close to compare him to Isagi. Now let's get on to Isagi. This debate was for character development and how well written a character is, so I think Isagi kinda got set up. haikyuu series is finished while Blue Lock is still ongoing, and Isagi fans are not helping by just bringing out the slurs that Isagi says to people, instead of actually talking about how Isagi became the heart of Blue Lock and bringing out points of good character writing. It's really hard to compare the two currently as haikyuu had a whole time skip plus the series is over. During the time skip was probably the most amount of character development we have seen from Hinata, and that really put him as a well-written character. Isagi has had great moments of character development as well, but Blue Lock and haikyuu are very different. First, haikyuu is volleyball, so it focuses more on teamwork and creates a lot of hope to create epic moments and scenes. Blue Lock is more ego-driven and a self-styled playstyle to score goals at your teammates' expense. In haikyuu, we follow Hinata as he goes against many other high school teams in a tournament style, and we see them go on to play in the nationals. For Blue Lock, however, they are all locked in a facility, and we do not see much outside play until they started the NEL League, which is still ongoing. Most arguments that people are giving Isagi is the achievements that he has gotten at age 17, like already being offered a pro contract of $50 million, and how he talks back and has a crazy ego, but these don't really showcase character development or how well written he is. First, I think the spin-off novel from Isagi was very well written, as it talks about how his ego was sealed from his high school coach, and Isagi was a hometown hero who ended up just passing to his teammates. Then the second selection was a huge process for Isagi, as he had to rewrite his thoughts and actions to be able to play with the high level of Blue Lock players that were always around him. Isagi really is getting better as a written character, but it's hard to put him up against Hinata just because the story is not over. We have not seen the full potential of Isagi yet, as he really changes dramatically once learning Metavision, and still that was all in just one game. I think this debate was really interesting from both sides, but as in terms of character development and writing, It went completely south as everyone just talked about what they felt was good about the character instead of how well written the character actually is. I think haikyuu is also written better just because you get many views of different people throughout the series and you get their inner thoughts. One thing I think Blue Lock does well is giving backstories but keeping bits of information secret so the audience can interpret and guess on their own. These two characters are both GOATs in their own right. It was nice to see a debate like this spark so much in the community, and I wonder when Blue Lock finishes if this conversation will look different. After rereading haikyuu's Brazil arc, I really am amazed at just how far Hinata was able to go and be able to return to Japan with all of his old friends and foes. Haikyuu had a good send-off showing all the people who played for high school and what they were up to now, and how not everyone returned to volleyball. Hinata is a sunshine. He cemented himself as one of the greatest MCs, not even in just sports anime, but anime in general. Isagi has a lot to do to catch up, and I honestly think Isagi could end up becoming one of the greatest anime MCs ever as well. People are sleeping on Isagi way more than I thought, but it does make sense to have Hinata over him. The plots of these two are very different, and Blue Lock is coming for a completely new styled form and way of sports shonen, so it goes to show how much animes can still evolve. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you take Isagi or Hinata as a better well-written character, and why? And if you pick Hinata, do you think Isagi has the potential to catch up, or is Hinata just that far ahead that Isagi can never catch up? This is a great debate to speak on, and I cannot wait to hear your guys' answers. Well, I thank you guys for watching the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back in the next one. Peace.